This is Johnny with Tiger Bomb MMA, and today I'm going to be going over UFC Fight Night Blachowicz versus Rakic. Still no Jose, still recovering from his injury. He did say his hellos to me, and at least I think that's what he said. He was like, "Rrr," which I think it translates into "Yo, what's up?" But I'm gonna go over the entire card. I don't have any like pictures like I normally do. It's been like a busy ass week, mostly because the Rose versus Carla fight really made me question if I want to keep doing this shit anymore. So yeah, bare minimum today. I'm gonna go through it really quickly. I don't have a whole ton of time this week, but next week I should have. I just realized what next week is. It's Holmes versus what's her face, that Brazilian chick. Maybe I don't want to do that one, but anyways, we'll get started with the first fight of the night, which will be Nick Maximoff versus Andrea Petrovsky. This one, like, I'm going to try to blast through these as quickly as possible. You know, I think most people who watch this channel know about both of these guys. It comes down to they're both wrestlers. They're both really good at jiu-jitsu. And just one of them's got a shittier cardio than the other. Just realized this fucking light makes me look more Hispanic than I'd like, but whatever, it is what it is, daytime. But for this one's easy for me. I like Maximov on this one. I faded Maximov literally every single fight. He's been in the UFC. Cody Brundage, I'm like, I'll give a shot on Cody. You know, the grappling might cancel itself out. It's becoming more evident to me that not Petrovsky, but Maximov is just that guy, right? Like, he's got that relentless wrestling. He may not be super threatening, but damn, that wrestling can really stifle guys. And Petrovsky, like, I know how good his wrestling is and his grappling is. He actually out-grappled that dude that cost a bunch of people money, blonde. I'm not thinking of his name right now. Explosive guy, if you know what I'm saying, a certain color, hue of skin. I can just fucking find out. Oh, let me find out here. What is his goddamn name? Whatever. He got knocked out by Curtis. Anyways, he's good. He's a good grappler. It's just that he gasses out. I don't trust his gas tank. He's just really solid. You might want to take a shot on him if you really feel like he can grind out a decision, maybe a split 29-28. It's plus 270 for the guy here at Tapology. And Maximov, I think he's overpriced, but if you were to take him at like dog odds, not dog odds, I'm sorry, but if you were to take him at like a prop odds by decision, I think that'd be really good. But yeah, my pick's going to be Maximov by decision. Not all of these are going to have the spoiler. I just kind of randomly clicked on a bunch of shit. So next bout, we have Chris Candelario versus Tatsuro Taira. Currently, the odds have it at minus 225 for Taira. Comeback on Candelario is a plus 185. If you've listened before, this one got rescheduled because I think Candelario, some sort of medical issue. I'm not too familiar. I can't remember to be exact, but I still have Candelario by decision. I just think he's a very scrappy guy. He's pretty good overall. He's not the greatest fighter. Taira coming in to the UFC, coming from Japan. I know he's been here for some time. He's acclimated to the time and all. It's going to be in Vegas, so I'm confident he's going to be the best version of himself. I just still think that Candelario has a really good shot at edging out a decision. So I'm going to give him a shot at those odds, plus 185. He was a bigger dog last time around, like maybe plus 200, but it's worth a shot for me. Like, I still think that Taira is strong. He's tall. He's got a good grappling base. Like, he's almost like a whiz on the ground, but nothing too spectacular, but he can just really hold you down there and put you in danger. But I just think Candelario isn't going to just sit back there and take it. Like, if he's in a body lock, he's not going to just allow himself to lose that way. So I just like his style. So I'll give him a shot at plus 185. Next bout at strawweight, Viviana Jandiroba versus Angela Hill. This one I've been going back and forth on. Initially, I was on Jandiroba. I was like, ooh, you know, she's a favorite, minus 160, come back on Hill, plus 135. We see this. I don't even know if the mouse is being captured, but you see her pretty shitty record. And I'm one of the firm believers that she loses fights. She's not getting robbed. She's losing these fights. She lost against Lemos. She lost against Torres. She, of course, beat Ashley Yoder, because who doesn't beat Ashley Yoder? Michelle Watterson, that one was close, but still Watterson. And Claudia Gadelia, also pretty close, but no robberies in my eyes. You got to do more to call robbery. Like, you got to nearly put the bitch out, and then the judges rob you from that point. Fine, you can call that a robbery, but no. But I do think at this point, after watching Virna Jandiroba, I think she looks dominant against certain level competition, like Felice Herrig, as we've seen. Like, she got that beautiful armbar. It's just that when she faces really good strikers, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Angela Hill is a pretty good striker, right? She's very strong. Her age is up there, right? She's 37, but I think she's strong enough. She's wise enough now. She's got a ton of experience, and I think she gets back on track against Virna Jandiroba. And I think that's actually going to be a good win for her. If she can beat Virna, a girl who's considered to be very dangerous, she's actually lost to some good competition herself, like Amanda Hebas. But Amanda Hebas, she's chinny, right? I love Amanda Hebas. Say what you want about her laugh. I kind of like it. I guess I'm a what do you call those people? People who like to get tortured. I'm one of those guys. But I think Virna, she's going to try really hard to get it to the ground. Angela Hill's takedown defense has significantly improved since her days in Invicta and early days in the UFC. So I think Angela is actually going to put a pretty good pace on her. Probably lose the first round because Virna's pretty dangerous in the first, and then when she gets tired, that is, I think Angela's going to take over. So I think this time it might even go to a split going the way of Angela Hill. At plus money, I'm willing to find that out. But next bout, God help us all. We've got Michael Johnson versus Alan Patrick. We've got if I'm being like jokey about shit, 2 quitters, because Alan Patrick, he gave up against Mason Jones. Like, I can't blame him. If it's between losing my dignity and losing a fight on my fight record, possibly getting kicked out of the UFC, maybe I'll play bitch and get the DQ. And then Michael Johnson, he's kind of mentally checked out in most of his fights. He's winning fights, and then what happened? Like, what happened, Michael? What happened, Michael? It's a tough one because no matter which one you choose, you're in the losing end of this conversation because, I mean, they're both up in age. I have to go with Michael Johnson just being the younger guy. Like, I can't trust either guy, but I'm just going with a pick here. I think Michael Johnson, oh man, like, I can see every possible way he loses this fight after dominating the fight. It sucks, man. It sucks. If you have a confident pick, God bless you, but I got Michael Johnson because I have to. But yeah, no play for me there. Next bout. This is the bout that I actually was very interested in between Viviana Rojo and Andrea Lee, because I'm like, I gave it some thought. I'm like, this is actually a pretty good fight between these two ladies. Currently, Angela Lee minus 120. Come back on Arujo is plus 100. At first, you're thinking Angela Lee's looked a lot better in her last few fights, significantly improved, more aggression. That Tony Kelly dick is really making her more aggressive. That Shreveport, Louisiana dick. And I like it. I like everything about her. Like, she is putting her combinations together. Like, one thing that I took notice of, I'm like, yeah, she dominated Antonina Shevchenko on the ground, but that's not like the biggest accomplishment, right? Like, I'm not going to put too much stock in that. And then she knocked out Cynthia Calvillo. And granted, like, I like what I saw from Andrea Lee. Like, I like the aggression. I like just her overall output is like impressive, but she has beaten 2 girls that I don't want to say they're not on her level, but they're just not. They're not quality wins. Like, the way she finished them is fantastic, but like, I don't want to say you should handle these 2 girls like that, but I just have my questions about Cynthia, like her quitting on the stool, like, and then her getting destroyed by, well, I guess it's not really a horrible thing. Like, it's going to happen if Jessica Andrade puts it on you, it's going to happen. But what I liked about Viviana Araújo, despite her losing to Chookagian, like, I was there live, I'm watching it, and I'm like, yeah, Chookagian won that, but going back and rewatching that fight, and that's the only fight I needed to rewatch, because that is like the top level caliber competition she's faced, because you don't consider Montana De La Rosa like top level, especially when you're like busting her nose up. And Roxanne Modafferi, come on now. Jessica, different story. She was good at one point, but Chookagian, like, the way she handled Chookagian in the second round was impressive. Like, nearly choked her out. If you watched the fight, you would hear the commentary saying that Chukagian tapped out, but she's good on the ground. My only concern with her is her gas tank. Like, she's gonna have the firepower, she's gonna have the jiu-jitsu. It's just that I don't know, man. Like, I think if it becomes a grappling battle, Araujo is probably going to be the stronger girl. The more wily girl on the bottom is going to be Angela Hill. I think it might stay on the feet because I really don't think Angela Hill is going to want to try to take it to the ground against Araujo unless she has to, unless she's hurt. And I do think that Viviana has the firepower to actually hurt Andrea Lee to make her kind of panic wrestle. At plus 100, I want to take the chance on her. I'm actually going to place a bet on her when the Dodgers cash out because I've been playing a shit ton of baseball. PayPal my money knows what's up with the Reds. But yeah, I'm going to go with Vivi to win this one. More of a hunch. I think it's a really close fight. Surprisingly, one of the few fights that I actually am interested in watching in this card. But yeah, I'll go with Vivi to win this one by a decision. Next bout. This one also, like, oh shit. Like, at first I'm like, I don't know about this guy, Jake Hadley, because new commandment for MMA. It's like, you don't bet women's MMA. You bet women's MMA if you got a good feeling. That's number 2. And number 3, the new one is do not bet debutantes from the Dana White Contender Series because you don't ever know, especially ones that are at minus 210 like Jake Hadley. Alan Nacimento, he is, I don't want to overstate this, what I'm about to say, but he trains with Charles Oliveira, and we know how good Charles is. Just being around the guy like that, you level up. Like, I don't give a fuck if they're not training together. You just see what he's doing. You have him in your gym. You're like, I want to do shit like that. And we've seen what Nacimento can do on the ground, right? Against Tagir Olimbekov, I went to a split decision. First when I watched it, since I had money on Tagir, I'm like, this fucker blew it. But no, he did what he had to do. He won the fight. It, my opinion, shouldn't have been a split. But he did attack from the bottom a lot. Like, he's a black belt in Muay Thai. He trains in the same gym, Diego Lima's Muay Thai Academy or whatever. Shooto Box, Diego Lima. And Jake Hadley, he trains with Leon Edwards. And I like what I see from Jake Hadley. I know he missed weight in his Contender Series fight. He was pretty honest about that. He felt to me a bit overhyped because when I was watching him versus Mitch Raposo, and if you don't know Mitch Raposo, he's a guy from Tyson Chartier's group, the New England Cartel. He's not too bad. He actually fought on the season that of the Ultimate Fighter that what's his name, Tercios won. So he's not terrible. Like, he's an up and coming guy. He's still very young, and he was doing pretty good against Jake Hadley when I first watched it. When I watched it again, knowing more about Jake Hadley, I'm like, this dude was like trying to prove a point. Like, he got taken down a lot, but he was attacking from the bottom himself. Like, he's a solid guy everywhere. Good striking, a good jiu-jitsu, right? Like, he had a nasty neck crank on Mitch Raposo, and you can chalk it up. I was gonna say crank it up. You can chalk it up to Raposo being a bit inexperienced. He's got like a handful of fights, like less than 10, I believe. And you can just say, yeah, he tapped out to a neck crank. He was fighting that neck crank for a bit. And then eventually, like, you just see his mouth open. You're like, ooh, that looks bad. And I'm still having trouble with this one because, again, like, I don't want to go all in on Jake Hadley. They're both guys from the Dana White Contender Series, but at least Alan Nacimento proved himself. And I just get this nasty feeling that he's going to overperform because I think Jake Hadley, he's got like this, like, you see the profile picture, he's flipping you off. He's got a bit of an attitude toward him. He looks shredded as fuck on his Instagram and on his like social media. So does Alan Nacimento. And he's, oh, fuck. It's just like, I'm excited to watch this one. It's probably going to be a no bet for me. Like, I don't want to touch it. I just want to enjoy it. Just, man, I get these feelings like Rodriguez versus Vergara last week, where it was like a crazy fight. Like, Hadley might look exactly like he should, and Nacimento comes back in the second round, and it gets a lot closer. And knowing that Jake Hadley, like, he's fought some decent competition, good records, but I'm not fully sold that he isn't like a can crusher or just, being an experienced guy picking on less experienced or shitty guys. You know what I mean? Nacimento, on the other hand, I know who he's fought. I know what he's capable of doing. I think it's going to be fun as hell to watch. I'll go with Hadley to win this one by a decision. I would hope it's like a scramble affair, kind of like the brief moments that we had with Chanel and Raw Dog. That'd be fun as hell. But I'll go with Hadley. I think he just has a bit of a meanness to him that like he doesn't care. Like, and I know Nacimento, he's more of like a trying to be more of a technical guy, and he can get a bit wild in there. I think Hadley's more wild in the sense of like he's going to go forward and try to bully you, opposed to Nacimento kind of like he gets kicked or something, he doesn't like it, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm going to throw a spinning back elbow." That can get him in trouble. So I'll go with Hadley on this one by a decision because I think Nacimento's going to put up a great fight. I'm really excited for this one too, but I'll go with with Hadley to win this one. But I'm staying away from it. I don't want to put him on any parlays. It just scares me a little bit too much. Next bout, we've got Frank Camacho versus Manuel El Loco Torres. Currently, the odds have it in favor of Torres minus 155, which concerned me a little bit. I'm like, why is that? Why is he not a bigger favorite? Not that I'm complaining, but it's just like, why is that? And then Camacho plus 130. This one was like a no-brainer. Like, I didn't do too much research because you can't really find a shit ton of research on Torres. He fought in the Contender Series as well, another debutant, which, the rules, don't fucking touch it. Unless you want to go with a prop, I wouldn't necessarily mess with it. Probably prop that he's going to knock out Camacho. That's probably the safest bet. Because if it goes to a decision, I think Frank Camacho is going to win this one. Camacho, we know all about Camacho, right? Like, he's been dropped before, he's been knocked out before. This fight taking place at lightweight. The last time he fought at lightweight, Justin James just unfortunately put his lights out. Like, no one really expected that. I know Justin James, he can go balls to the walls, and if you don't expect him to do something like that, he's going to come in here and run through you, which is unfortunate for Frank Camacho, but he's taken the adequate amount of time off, almost 2 years off. I know he's training at a good camp, Team Oyama, and he looks really in shape. He looks in great shape, and I think he's going to go back to his roots, which is the grappling. Like, not many people know that he's actually pretty decent BJJ artist. I think he's like a brown belt, but he's medaled before and whatever. And Torres, like, he's okay. I'm not sold on him yet. Like, I rather not touch it myself and just enjoy it because I want to lean Camacho by decision or even by submission because he's the more experienced guy, right? He's fought so many good guys. He's lost every single one of them, but he's at least been in there with these guys like Drew Dober. Jeff Neal fucking knocked him out. Benio Dariush and Justin James. But Manuel Torres, I always get these feelings about these Mexican dudes from Mexico. Fucking stupid. I just thought of that Dave Chappelle bit, like, kind of the lingus rice sounds like a Mexican dish. Send her off to Mexico so the Mexicans can eat her. But Torres, like, I'm not too sold on him yet. Like, he's got some decent length to him. His striking's okay, but I fear the big massive stunt. And if Frank Camacho comes in fighting smart, I think he's got the adequate tools to really put a schooling on the young. And he's only 27 years old, right? But he shows me a level of inexperience with the very bit of tape that I've seen. And I'm just not ready to be like, yeah, he's going to knock out Frank Camacho. Like, Frank Camacho has taken an ass whooping from Drew Dober, and Jeff Neal Jeff Neal beat the shit out of Frank Camacho. And if it wasn't for that nasty head kick that put his lights out, like, he probably would have still been eating punches. But I'll go with Frank Camacho. He's got some decent durability, and I just think he's going to grapple. So I'll go with him by decision. Next bout, Amanda Ribas versus blonde fighter Caitlin Chookagian. The odds are interesting. Minus 150 for Chookagian. Comeback on Ribas is a plus 125. I don't have much to say about this one. I'm going with Chookagian. I mean, they're equally skilled fighters. Dare I say what I'm about to say? I think Chookagian actually knocks out Amanda Ribas. And the reason for it is, like, I know Ribas' chin isn't great. Chookagian isn't known for, like, sitting on her punches and knocking girls out, but something tells me that, like, Chookagian, look how she's fucking tall, 5'9" compared to the 5'3". What realistically is Amanda Ribas going to do that Chookagian can't handle? I mean, Chookagian, her striking has gotten better, right? Like, watching that the Vivi fight, I was just like, damn, she's not looking as great. Vivi was having a lot of success with her on the feet. And then when she started getting into that groove and letting things go, it's like she was having a ton of success. And I feel like she's going to just continue her performances, right? Like betting Chukagian has been fucking profitable. And at these odds, I like those odds. Like they're not great. Dog money's always best. But if she's not fighting if she's fighting Valentina, so that's the only time you're really going to get her at dog odds. But Chukagian, I get a feeling she's going to put it on Amanda Ribas. Like her last fight with Jennifer Maia, the rematch, like you can kind of see that extra aggression. I think that was because her contract was up and she wanted to she really wanted to finish. And I think she might get it here because I love Ribas. I love Ribas. Like she's very skilled, right? The judo, the BJJ, the striking's very good, the movement's very good, but she's at a significant disadvantage here with the height and the reach. And Chukagian is just super fucking good at getting the decisions at the bare minimum. Her grappling is fucking solid. She's going to be the bigger girl unless Ribas gets her in like a opportunistic armbar. I just don't see Caitlin getting finished. I don't see her losing on points, and I actually can see her knocking out Amanda Ribas. Like Ribas, she doesn't have a whole ton of power herself, right? So I think Caitlin might come in here like, I'm fighting this pipsqueak, and I think she might actually knock her out. I get a feeling she will. I mean, if you want to take her by decision, that's always safe, but I just get this nagging feeling of like Chukagian by knockout. So I'll probably take a little shot, like itty bitty insignificant shot on Chukagian by knockout, just to be like, you know what I mean? Like I told you guys. But yeah, I'll go with Chukagian knockout. Call me crazy. Next bout, bantamweight, Louis Smolka versus Davy Grant. Louis Smolka is going to smoke Davy Grant. Of course he's not. Davy Grant's going to knock him out in the second round. Davy Grant, dude's a badass. Like I counted him out multiple times at, believe it's a right to the body, overhand left. One of that combination that he loves to throw. I think he's going to knock out Louis Smolka. Louis Smolka, he's got great performances in him. Like he can prove me fucking wrong. It's just that I don't see it happening, right? Like I'm a fan of Louis Smolka. I'm rooting for him as a human being and as a fighter. It's just that with my wallet, it ain't happening. Like I've done it before, and it's made me some money, and I've done it more in the past, and it's cost me some money. So right now, like I picked him to beat Quinones, and it paid off. I picked him to beat Morales. It cost me. And if Morales is knocking you out, Davy Grant is gonna knock you out of the UFC. So I'll go with Grant by second round knockout. I mean, the odds are ridiculous, but if you go Grant by finish, by knockout particularly, it's going to be better. So minus 280 for Grant. Even then, I'm trying to think, can Grant pull a stunt? And looking at his last few fights, I don't think so, man. He's fought some good competition. Arguably, some people, I won't make the argument, say that he beat Adrian Yanez. And Smolka, he's been on that up and down trajectory. I mean, if you look at it, loss, win, loss, win, loss, he's due for a win. But yeah, he's not beating Davy Grant. Like Davy Grant's conditioned and he's ready to go. Delicious. Sweet tea. Ryan Spann versus Ian Cutelaba for the co-main event. Cutelaba apparently is training at Extreme Couture. If Cutelaba had Kobe's gas tank, he'd be champion by now. The guy is a menace. He's got great wrestling. He's got nasty power. Paints himself fucking green. What more do you want from a guy? He's a minus 210 against Ryan Spann. Ryan Spann's still dangerous, right? He's a very skilled guy training out of Fortis MMA. He's going to be the bigger guy, longer reach. There's a chance, right? There's a chance he can pop the jab and stop Ian Cutelaba, but Cutelaba has a way of just like getting in there. And if he clips Ryan Spann, I just don't trust him, right? I don't trust him to not get knocked out. I mean, Anthony Smith put it on him. Johnny Walker knocked him out. It's almost too obvious to me now that I think about it. Like, as I'm thinking, like, yeah, I think Ryan Spann has a chance. So I'm not like completely sold. I'm not going to tell anybody guaranteed Cutelaba is going to knock out Ryan Spann. I mean, if in my mind, if I'm banking on a knockout, I mean, as of late, Ian hasn't really been able to finish dudes, right? He couldn't finish Dustin Jacoby and he couldn't finish Devin Clark. Devin Clark is kind of known to have that durability issue, but maybe Ian Cutelaba knocked some durability into Devin Clark. Dude had a broken jaw. And that's when I'm like, damn, Devin Clark, you're a bad motherfucker. But Ryan Spann, I'm just thinking now of Chaos Williams versus Randy Brown, very similar, except Kutalaba is not black. If I'm banking on the knockout from Kutalaba, that may or may not come, and knowing how big Ryan Spann is, 6'5", 81.5-inch reach, training out of Fortis MMA, I know Ryan Spann's been knocked out, but he got knocked out recently by the very lengthy and hood Anthony Smith ain't someone you want to sleep on. I think at those odds, I might take a shot on Ryan Spann. Like Kutalaba training out of Extreme Couture might be a new mythical creature, but you know what? I'm not here to fucking go with some logical choices sometimes. I just get this gut feeling now that I think about it that Ryan Spann might just use superior boxing, just keep Kutalaba at bay and edge out a decision. Like Ryan Spann, though, he does some dumb shit sometimes. He does really stupid things in the cage. Like, with Johnny Walker, he had that fight won, and then he kind of put himself in a bad spot. And with Anthony Smith, Anthony Smith just beat his ass. I guess he should not have talked shit about Anthony Smith. That was a dumb thing that he did. But I think he might be due. I think, how long ago was that? It was 7 months ago. That's enough time, I think. I mean, Ryan Spann's a big dude. Kutalaba's a mad dog. I mean, it's worth a shot. I think I'll give Ryan Spann a shot. I think he can edge out a decision. If Kutalaba gets tired, or if Ryan Spann makes Kutalaba tired, like attacking the body, teep kicks, I think he can have some success. We'll see, though. I mean, Kutalaba, if you're hedging this one, Kutalaba by knockout might be a good play. But I'll go with Ryan Spann. It's a tentative, play. I'm not comfortable with it. But finally, main event, you've got Blachowicz versus Rakic. Currently, the favorite is Rakic minus 160. Come back on Blachowicz, the former champion, minus 135. Very, I don't want to say disrespectful to a former champion to be an underdog, but I think the narrative for me, at least, is that I think Blachowicz, he aged completely overnight, which is crazy. Like, I don't know if he got complacent. Like, he hit the highest of the high. He beat Israel Adesanya. He's the 20-something and 1 in Adesanya's record, however many fights he has now, 22, 21 fights, 21 wins, I'm sorry. And he came in with Glover, and I don't know if he just overestimated his own skill set, his takedown defense, or underestimated Glover, but it just seemed as if, this is not the same John. What the fuck? He's not the same guy. Like, John would come in there, kick you to the body, left hooks, grappling on point, and he just seemed like a step behind. And Aleksandar Rakic has been, I don't want to say he's been impressive, but the only thing impressive about him is that he keeps leveling up. He's not just a kickboxer anymore. And if you happen to know, in the comment section, please let me know. There was some buzz around some time ago that Aleksandar Rakic fought Israel Adesanya in kickboxing and he beat him, but I couldn't verify if that was the same Rakic. I think it is, and I could not find any verification. I just realized why I didn't, because I Googled it. I should have gone like DuckDuckGo or Bing. That might have brought me up a better result. But there was like a thread on Shirt Dog talking about it. So I'm like, maybe it was him. But yeah, kind of gives you that credential. If he did beat Adesanya in kickboxing, he's a good kickboxer. He's a big, tall guy. He's 6'4", right? 78-inch reach. He's been training his wrestling. I mean, he had a horrible fight with Anthony Smith, but he really schooled Anthony Smith. He's been having really poor performances as of late, like very boring performances, which makes me think he's ready to put on another one against Blachowicz. And, he's a dangerous guy. He can head kick the shit out of you like he did with Jimmy Manuel. I was at the fucking casino after he knocked out Jimmy Manuel. And my casino, it's mostly basketball bets, baseball bets, and the occasional hockey. And I was overhearing some dude that I see there often. He's like, yeah, he knocked him out. He's on the phone talking to some guy. He's like, yeah, he knocked him out with a head kick. Yeah, it was incredible. And I'm just like, I know exactly what he's talking about. So the fact that he created some buzz in my local casino makes you like, oh shit, he's getting popular. His last few fights have not been like that. You're not going to call your friend and be like, you saw the way he took down Anthony Smith and controlled him. That was impressive. It is impressive, but it's fucking boring. I'm going to bank that Blachowicz is not necessarily done. I think he has some left in the tank. I just do think that Rakic right now, he's coming into his own. He's obviously much younger by nearly 10 years, 9 years or so to be exact. and he's putting it together. The striking's there, the grappling's there. I think he's physically strong. I've seen this guy fucking deadlift shit. I like Rakic on this one. I don't know if he's going to knock out Blachowicz or finish him. That'd be fun if they just stand in the middle and start trading. That'd be awesome. But I'll go with Rakic by decision. I still respect John Blachowicz. It's just that I think he's really, really aged overnight. Like that highest of the high of beating Adesanya was maybe like that could have been a swan song. I know he's still got the legendary Polish power. I just don't think he's going to be able to find the chin of Rakic. I think Rakic is just too good right now. And I know Rakic hasn't fought in about a year, so he may or may not have that ring rust. I'm going to bet that he doesn't. So I'll go with Rakic to win this one by a decision. But yeah, it's maybe more of a enjoy it. I won't bet him straight. I probably put him on a parlay, one that I'm okay losing. But yeah, I like Rakic. If I'm going to say bets, Davy Grant for sure, Chukagian for sure. I'll say Maximoff. I'll put him in there as well as a maybe 4 or 5 person parlay. I might add someone else down the line. But those have been my picks for this card. Again, I didn't want to go into too much detail. I've been kind of busy as fuck. There might be some changes down the line with the channel, but yeah, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. I don't want this shit to be the normal, right? I want to go back to doing my like funny, stupid pictures and shit, being a bit more of my own personality. Just that this week's been funky. I would say by next week I might have some updates. That'd be cool. I kind of said that like I was gonna like get a surgery, you know what I'm saying? I'm not doing any of that shit. Nothing crazy. It's just life changes, good life changes. Shit gets busy, and I never want to have to do Tapology verification shit like this again. I want my own fucking stuff. But yeah, like, share, subscribe. Johnny from Tiger Bomb MMA. Catch you next week for the anticipated fight for Holly Holm and whoever the fuck she's fighting. I can't remember. Some Brazilian chick. But as always, fuck Oberg.